What's up, y'all? Happy Monday. Okay, let's go do this. I don't know if we're going to get much action until 2 p.m. whenever this Bassett Fed speeches or whatever he's got planned. But we'll go through some charts anyways and see where we want to end up, or at least where we think the market's going to end up. But we're not in the game of predicting, we're in the game of reacting. I will say it's been a while since we've had a 500% intraday move. The last time I could think of was like probably back in June, if not earlier than that. Yeah, but Friday was actually a really good trading day. I wasn't expecting it to be, but it ended up becoming pretty profitable. Not just because of SPX, but because of what we ended up doing or thinking about with Tesla calls and whatever else. But that was a rare, I would say like rare, at least over the summer event, where we got a 500% intraday move by like noon. So I really like that. I'm glad we were able to hold these, and even got a small win on Micron. It wasn't huge, but you know, there's a lot of downward pressure right now on the market. Whether that's because of inflation or whatever's happening in the Middle East, there's just a lot going on. So I drew this downward trend line on SPY back in, I don't know, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember exactly when. But we've been respecting that downward trend line ever since. So, you know, the trend is definitely bearish. You know, on a daily, you're making lower highs, lower lows. You had one chance to make a higher high and higher low, but didn't really get there. 4 hours, same thing. It was curling for a bit and then came back down, testing that downward trend line, rejecting off of it every single time so far. So this displacement, to me, if it doesn't hold, then you can start swinging puts, basically. And I think we'll probably take care of this gap sooner rather than later at 747, 750. On the 15-minute, same story, just rejecting that trend line. We were above it post-market on Friday, came back down. I think I even said to some of you to swing puts for today. I don't know if the puts go anywhere, to be honest. I got the 765 puts. That's the put wall right now. So anything below that, I think they'll try to bring it back up to the put wall at 765. So let's see where that goes. But I do have a high probability setup that we just continue dumping, or maybe we just go sideways until 2 p.m. and whatever Besant does, it either pumps or dumps the market. I don't think it'll be that big, to be honest. And then you also got Jackson Hole on Friday, so we'll see what they say necessarily. But I do think it'll be a fun trading day if we don't chop. So I'm just going to watch for George. I do have a couple calls going on for George from 10 a.m. onwards. It's around 9:50. I'll just wrap up the stream so I can get ready for the next call. But his Apex prints have been really good. And one thing I do want to mention is I changed the layout a little bit on the site on the Apex side. So you'll see the trade now on the left. I got rid of the chart. It was useless to me. And then you also see what positions they're building. The reason I like that position building thing, just so people know, this is how I was able to catch that 500% move on Friday. If I scroll back up to the top here, you'll see around like 10:30, they started building the 7,700 calls. And I took them. They were $1. My original entry was like $250. So not ideal, but they were building this upside position, starting like in the morning, like at 11:40. And then even before that, we had a pretty sizable burst. Let me just go find it so you can kind of see what I mean. It's hard to keep track of it in Discord. That's why I changed the layout. I was like, I can't observe all this. Oh, there it is. 7:10 calls coming in at 11 a.m. And there were just like a lot of upside call building at that point in time. So I was like, I'm just going to take these calls and see where they end up. And those are the ones that went 500%. And so what I did was I just took that same concept and applied it to the layout here. So you'll see what positions they're building in real time. And if one thing comes in new and that has a lot of volume and the upside's been building or downside's building whatever it is, you'll see that in real time at this point in time. So it's pretty nice. But they are buying a lot of puts for the end of the week. I actually think it's going to be an oversold rally that we get into by the end of the week. So we'll see where this goes. But I'm not really swinging much right now on the SPY side. One thing I will say is I'm going to take some SPY 800 calls for the end of September. They'll be relatively inexpensive at open. But I want to see where they go more than anything else. I'm just going to get like 4 cons, maybe 10 if I add to them. You can also wait until Thursday if you wanted to. If you want to see this downtrend continue and maybe by like Thursday or Friday, whenever we bottom out at like around 760, then maybe get those. But I always forget about these things. So I'm going to get a position probably around open. And I just want to see where it goes more than anything else. It has a lot of open interest. It has a lot of good volume on it. So I figured they want the market higher later down the line. And Hawkeye and I, we played some meta puts on Friday, which actually was pretty fun as well. Keep an eye on financials. They're making lower highs and lower lows. If we lose financials, I don't think SPY is going to do that well. But you are at a really good demand zone at this point in time. So let's see if this holds at 352 on JPM. If it does, then I think you can get back into the trend of carving higher highs and higher lows. So just keep an eye on it. You don't have to do much, but it is there. Walmart, I really like this. It looks like it's oversold. Maybe it's due for a small rally. I don't think we're going to get all the way back to like 120. But the 105 calls for the end of the week are pretty inexpensive. I'm looking at them right now. And if you wanted to get the 105s, they're like $70-ish. 76 was the last price on Friday. So I really like that as a very cheap hedge and see where things go when it comes to interest rates. But that will do pretty well. USO looks pretty bullish, to be honest. Almost filled that gap. I don't think we got all the way down there. Nope. Actually, we did. Oh, we filled that gap. Nice. So I do think this will have more room to run by the end of the week. I'm looking at 136.40 as a target. Maybe we get there by Friday. I don't know. But these are pretty inexpensive hedges. So I'm going to take a couple of USO calls for Friday just as a cheap hedge. And same thing with Walmart. I really like how that's shipping up, and some of the other names like Target, this is just blowing people's face off. Like, look at it. It's just like all-time highs. So this will, or not all-time highs, but like it's just breaking out of this like base that we've been in for quite some time, and you're finally above an ADR on the daily. So I like how this is going to go, and I think it's just going to continue pushing towards like 169, 170 is kind of the target. Did I have a leap position that I started on this for March 2027? I'm actually curious to see it. I haven't seen it in a while. But I do like how this is shaping up as well for weeklies. Any sort of pullback that we get on target, I'm going to be a net buyer. Might actually start a common position at this point in time. So we'll see where that goes. NVIDIA has earnings on Wednesday. Usually that they just sell it off anyways. If I look at every single earning that they've had for the last like couple of quarters, earning here, right? This is the one upcoming. They had an earning here. It actually was pretty good, but they just gapped up and then sold it down for the next couple of weeks. Same thing happened here. Right? Gapped up and then sold it out for the rest couple of weeks. So I don't know if history will repeat itself. But you shouldn't be in a hurry to play NVIDIA. Just wait for the earnings. If they gap up, just buy puts. If it doesn't hold a certain level, and if it does, you can probably get calls after the IV crush. I don't necessarily know who the biggest buyer of NVIDIA is right now, even though they are increasing their prices. But you're clearly in a downtrend here. So this will eventually break to the upside or downside. I'm leaning downside after earnings. So what it probably does this week is just bonks around, and then by like Wednesday, it'll gap up. And then finally after the earnings, it'll just kind of come back to 212. If we lose 212 for whatever reason, you're coming back to 207. And I did see some flow on George for 210 put weeklies on NVIDIA. So let's see where those end up. But that is a pretty compelling strike for me as a pretty inexpensive hedge. Let's go find it there. There it is, 210 puts. So they're coming in, they're for today. Holy shit. So these are probably going to be in the money by open. And then we see a lot of gold and silver calls coming in. Tesla, I would ignore. It's just a meme at this point in time. So any dips on gold, I'm going to be a net buyer. I do think Tesla puts today will work, actually. Hold on, let me just sign in here. I keep forget. It logs me out whenever I restart my server. I do think Tesla puts will actually work today because, A, we are pretty overextended. If I look at the Tesla chart here, came up all the way to the top of the ADR, uppercut, and then started rejecting here. So I think they'll probably pump it at open a little bit, and then they'll find kind of come back down towards 355 is the area that I got. So I might just get some 355 puts at open and see where they end up. But that'll be a fun thing to play on the downside. Keep an eye on Apple. They've been consolidating for the last couple of weeks, but I do think this will run again. So now you're at the same demand zone that kicked off this rally. And I think it's just the same thing's going to happen again. So I'm liking Apple weeklies as a small hedge. Gold and silver look pretty bullish. Making higher highs, higher lows. This is just continues uptrend. This is, I think, an anti-inflation hedge, to be honest, or rather inflation hedge. But from the bottom of this bar, which kickstarted this entire thing, to up here, like it just continuously respecting that trend line. So we like that. And same thing with silver. I think they're just rotating between the names, to be honest, between metals. So they're going from gold and to silver and now to copper. You can see that on the FCX chart, for example. Like they just broke out of a long base here. I'm looking at this on daily, just consolidation, and then finally, boom, like a couple of days ago, started breaking out. So I think it's got more room to run. I might get a lot of calls for this for the end of the week, but we'll see where that goes. Hawkeye says, UNG's pumping. Yeah, it'll continue to pump, but I think that's just the reality of the business with inflation. Bitcoin has been pumping. We're now at this double top pattern, which I don't like. So if anyone took longs or calls on, or I would say like leverage calls or longs on Bitcoin, maybe scale out of them. I don't like this double top pattern, but your call. And then same thing with Ethereum. Like I just see this exact same thing playing out right now where you have this like topping pattern. I'm not saying it can't go higher. Maybe just consolidate, come back down and build another base before going higher. But I think it's going to come back to like 78. If we lose that, then 76. And then I'll probably build another base for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then finally start breaking out again. So I'm liking those names. But if Bitcoin goes, coin will go with it. And again, I see the same pattern here. I don't want to get Coinbase calls until we're above 192 because at that point in time, you've invalidated that double top pattern. But the way that I see this is like, okay, this is accumulation. This is now setting up a head and shoulder and a top. It'll probably come back down, probably come back around 152 before going back up. So just keep an eye on those and we'll see what that ends up. But you should not be in a hurry to do anything today, to be honest. I'm just going to wait for Apex prints on George. His entry on Friday was frankly much better than mine. I'm just going to wait today and see what he says. Even the MOC he just nailed. We had like continuous 300% moves on Friday where he was saying calls and then he got puts and then he's like, okay, don't get these calls at the end of the day at 357 because all the whales have left and there's no flow there to match where we end up. So that's what I'm looking at for the most part. I'm going to get some Walmart calls probably at open. Might get some Tesla puts at open and then SPX I'm just going to watch and then at 9:45ish I'm just going to run. Because I got to prep for a call at 10 a.m. for George, which will be a lot of fun. And if we can get through that call and we get the thing that we need, George will be even more powered because he'll have access to a lot more data that we didn't have before. So we'll see where that ends up. And then if anyone's testing the MCP side, just so people know, it is live. You can use it now. I've been testing it with Hawkeye or with Happy Cube, Kakashi, and with Sean. And that's done really well. And then what I started putting together was these research pieces. So if you go down to the footer on research, there's all the stuff that I've written around what we've backtested and what worked and what didn't. So if anyone's curious, this new policy that I built out with Sean, or rather Sean just did it himself based on an Apex system has now been implemented. So they'll show up both in the MCP side and with what George is trading. And some of you asked about these Apex prints. They come up into your SMS, but they're also on Telegram now. So there's an SMS or Telegram channel with the Apex prints, so they'll show up there and on your SMS as well. And yes, it'll come up on your phone. But frankly, I'm just going to watch the site because that's probably the best way to do it. He's saying 7,700 calls. I don't know what he sees. But I'm just going to wait till George gives me an actual Apex sprint instead of a suggestion to see where that ends up. So the top watches, at least when I'm going to get it open, is Walmart calls. And I don't need them to go in the money necessarily, but I think it's high probability. Or we might continue selling off. And then I'm going to see if we can get some Tesla puts as lottos for today, which will be pretty fun. I think it'll work out. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll find something else to do on SPX afterwards. Let's go find Tesla. And I want to get puts, probably the 355s. But if I can get them at cheaper than $1, even better. I think I got called for George until like 11:30, so I probably won't be as active in the morning as I wanted to, but that actually might be a blessing in disguise. So keep an eye on the Apex channel and then also on the site if you want, just to see what George is thinking about or what flow he's seeing. Because frankly, he's a lot better than I am. And just a heads up, starting September 8th onwards until the 17th, I believe. I'm going to be out of town, so I won't be able to do these streams. I won't be posting as much in Discord at the very least. So just keep an eye out on George. I've tried to get him as good as I can for the time that I'll be away. So just keep an eye out on that. And you'll have the other admins as well as Neek and Sky to guide everyone on what to trade and hopefully when. So just keep that on your radar. I'll be out from September 8th onwards.
I am watching Q puts today. Gonna probably grab like Friday expiration, and then I agree with you on Tesla. I think we get some sort of like fake bounce in the morning, and then exactly. I'll short it to like 355-ish, somewhere in there.
This is exactly what my read is.
I hate when we agree on Tesla, though. It never works for me.
Same, I know. So it might just pump, but we'll see.
All right, but yeah. So everybody trade safe. Don't rush. It's Monday morning. You got plenty of time.
Oh, yeah. Plus, we got the Fed stuff at 2 p.m. All right, we open in about 30 seconds here.
Right. I'll catch you guys in a moment.
It's this guy. There goes Walmart. Damn. Move fast. I'm going to wait for a pullback before I enter those Walmart calls. Tesla, we always got a second entry at like 9:45, so I'm just going to wait and watch. Market manipulation detected. You know, these puts actually aren't moving anywhere. Maybe it'll take some time. I don't know. If anyone got DRAM puts, you're up about 5 percentage points. The 50 puts for, I think it's September 18th. That actually might work out. Also got a couple of Tesla 350 put lottos at 60. I don't think they'll go anywhere, but it is a fun lotto. Okay, let me just put that in there. Tesla 350p at 56 per con here. Lotto. We'll wait for another entry to size up. Those are 0D, by the way. small bounce on IWM, so I think we'll get a small bounce on SPX shortly. Okay, Tesla puts are green. Weird. Tesla puts up. Wow, Tesla puts up 20%. No, they're up 30%. What the heck? Well, Walmart ran without us. Look at that. Just got them at open. Would have been up like fucking 50% there. I'm not chasing it. I have zero interest in chasing that. Tesla puts 56 to 85 at here. Please take the win on those. I don't know what's going to happen with this. But if it holds here, I might switch to calls. Okay. Tesla puts 56 to 90. I'll show you what I did there. I have another order, but you're up like 50% already on these. So if you want to take the win, please do. There's 55, 53, 58, 60. Okay. And there's almost 100%. Look at that.
I think you've taken those.
Didn't even have to do anything. And we've hit 100% on Tesla puts. All right, cool. 100% Tesla puts at here. That took a total of 3 minutes. Cool. Got to do more of those. There's your evidence if you wanted it. Oh, it's back to 91. Sorry, it wasn't clean 100%, or it was 100%, then went down to 97, whatever. It actually might hold here. So if you want to take the win, please do. No one's going to stop you. The 7670 puts are coming in on SPX. Weird. Let's see what the new layout shows. I actually haven't seen this live. Oh no, they're buying. That's not ideal. Watching position. Calls are imminent. Okay, buddy. If this loading position building thing doesn't work, let me know. I'll have to take a look at it. This actually might not work anyways, but let me just take a screenshot of it so I know what to look for next. Tesla watching position out half at here, 100% in runner.
How are you doing? How are you doing your marks?
EMC calls. That actually might work. Oh no, I'm not chasing that. I'm not chasing that at all. JPM should be pumping now. Yep. That's what I thought. JJ asks, is Circle or Mass are going to rip up like coin? Maybe, but you're rejecting right now, so I think it'll consolidate for a little bit before going higher. I do like this master chart. I like this. You have a cup, you have a channel, and maybe this will do a double tap at 120 and go back up. Hold on, I gotta mute someone. I can't remember who. Was that Timmy? I don't know. I might be in for a chop day, to be honest, until 2 p.m., whenever this Fed thing is. Okay, 120% Tesla puts. Please just take the win. There you go, 113. I'm saying 120 on my phone, but whatever. There's 120. Please just move on. Got a nice win here. I'm going to sell and get it down to like one runner and call it a day. Boom. 120%. Tesla down to a single runner. DRAM 50p for 918 up 20% at air. Oops. Good call on those DRAM puts, Timmy. Okay, that's ridiculous. These Tesla puts are up like 145%. Here, I'll take a screenshot so you can see it.
Yeah, the DRAM was a great way to hedge against uncertainty, as we know how memory moves.
Yep. I do think they're getting out of the memory trade and into something else. I think it's going to like precious metals and commodities. And IWM has lost its fine line in the sand. So I think we're just going to continue dumping today. Cool. Trend down day. Nice. I'm just going to wait for the Apex prints. I don't have to rush into anything. Frankly, my entries are shit right now. I think he's going to say call soon. I'm pretty sure. QQQ calls are coming in. That's weird. That is strange. 710 0DTE calls. Okay, what's QQQ doing? Let's go watch. You know what? I think they'll work. I'm gonna get a couple just for kicks. Let me do it on my other account because I always forget I don't have money on this one. Or that's his Georgia account rather. 710 are pretty cheap at 40 here. Let's get like 4 of these. See where this ends up. QQQ, 0DTE, 710C, Lotto at 40 per con here. If you got filled on Tesla, you're still up 120%. I would take the win if I were you. I think this will hold and it's going to rip back up. I think this is going to rip up shortly. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I get that feeling, but I think both Tesla and QQR are about to rip up. Same thing with IWM. When that happens, SPX will do the exact same. You're taking care of that gap right now and probably just go back up from here. Also, this might be a little bit risky, but RUM 10C 911 at 43 per con in here. Just keep an eye on financials. I think they'll tell us what's going to happen soon. They're holding, which I really like. There goes JPM. Of course, the one day I don't play it. And XLF, what the fucking volume? Oh, man, every time this happens to me. I get bearish and then the thing I want just pumps. Watching position. Okay, Tesla puts her up about 150%. Please just take the win, move on. You don't have to do anything. Or anything else, rather. QQQ, I'm going to hold these calls just to see where they end up. If the next 15-minute bar closes below 705, I'll cut them, but I think it'll flip up. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because Besson has his press conference at 2. So, like any good government employees, press conference is probably going to be at 3. Anyways, I think it's a good day to get some XLE calls for the week just because it's a nice hedge.
I agree. You can wait till 2 p.m. if you wanted to.
I wouldn't wait till 2. I would, even though they're so cheap, I would. One, news tends to leak out ahead of time. The agencies like Reuters, USA Today, just because they want maximum effect. And 2, they're cheap, right?
Yeah, the 65s are pretty inexpensive, and they got decent OI on them. You can get them for like $30. Let's do that.
You know, I
XLE.
don't think $5, 25 to 30 is going to necessarily ruin anyone's margin.
Yeah. Plus, you got paid on these Tesla puts that are up 160%, so please just take the win.
Well, I'm also holding some
There you go.
635s, up 63%. Not bad.
Nice. Watching position.
Remember, folks, if it's good enough to screenshot, it's good enough to take the profit.
Never, Timmy. Never. I never screenshot. Okay, there's 200% Tesla puts. Please just take the win, move on. There you go, 211. Watching position. 220. Okay, well, good enough for me. I'm just going to solid call it a day. I do got to run. I'll see y'all in a bit. Okay, I'm just going to hold these Q calls. They're in drawdown by 50%. Oh, man, I should just put a 50% discount call a day. And just keep an eye out
One more
on...
thing before you go. Can you look at
FRO? Yeah. There's a bounce. Okay, let's go see what FRO looked like.
Sorry, I'm not trying to delay you.
No, it's all good. I think it'll come back down to 42, and then I'll get some calls if it holds. The daily looks pretty bullish. We're just not out of this base here. Let's see if there's a control bar or something that we can look at.
You know what FRO does?
I have no idea.
They are one of the world's largest oil tank. One of the world's largest shippers when it comes to oil. They tend to move on any news associated with progress of oil and gas and all that. So keep an eye on that chart.
Nice. I like it. The 15-minute looks pretty bullish. 4-hour looks pretty bullish. It seems like it's bottomed out here. The daily says it might come down a little bit, but if you want to do a starter on some calls or even comments at this point in time, honestly, that might not be a bad way to go. And I would probably get the end of the year 50 calls or give it some time because it looks like it accumulates for a little bit before going higher. If you want to give it at least till the end of September, and then I'll get the 50 calls for the end of the year, just as a very decently sized, inexpensive hedge. And the DRAM puts are up about 30%. I'm going to trim most of my position, call it a day. So I'll leave it at that. Tesla puts are still green. Please take the win. I think you're going to bounce back up here.
Watching
Not already.
position.
There you go. And you're going to get some crazy volume coming through on SPY and SPX because you're below the put wall. And George is already saying, go get some calls on SPX. So 7670s are, let's see how much they are. They're $340. It's not bad. Even if you want, you can get the 7680s at $1, 7675s at like $245. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to get two of these at $240 or $230. Actually, maybe I'll size up a little bit. Get like three of these, and then we'll see where that ends up. 7675C at $230 per con in here. Starter. Okay, I gotta run, but I will see you all in a bit.